The Garnet and Old Show. It's Thursday. It's 7 o'clock. You're hanging out with Ryan and Vince. Vince, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty well today, Ryan. I know you've had a rough day today. We just kind of talked about that, but it's going to be all better now because it's Garnet and Old time. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. We can forget about the cares of the day.
Yeah, forget about the IT world.
Forget about the IT world. Forget about the cares of the day. Dance your cares away. Worries are for another day.
Dance to the war chant, right?
Dance, plant the spear, dance to the war chant. Exactly right.
For all of you guys watching at home, thanks for joining us. And why don't you give us a little like and subscribe? And if you would like to become a member, you can become a member by hitting the join button in YouTube only. And that gets you early and ad-free access to our extra live streams that we do for our members, and allows you to conversate and back and forth with us both on X and on Discord. We just this past weekend for our members did a show about the how our new branding came about and how we actually accomplished everything and came to the decisions we did. So check that out if you are a member. Definitely let us know if you're enjoying those videos. And if you have any ideas, please email us at garnetold@gmail.com. Speaking of subscribers, if you would like a copy of EA Sports College Football and a brand new console, help us get to 2,000 subscribers. If we hit 2,000 subscribers before the release of EA Sports College Football, we will give away a console and a game live on air. Now, Vince.
Hold on, Ryan. You're skipping. I know you want to get through it.
Oh,
you had a rough day today. You've had a rough day today.
Part of the day.
You had a rough day today. And by the way, you should have a drink, Ryan.
I don't have one.
You should have gotten one. If you want to go get one, I can handle this for the next 3 or 4 minutes.
A bottle? Yeah.
A whole bottle.
Right there.
So we're pretty confident that, 2,000 subscribers is in our future. We've talked about it a little bit here and there, that a little bit of the slow time of the year, right? So if you're here watching right now, you're diehard, and we love that because we are. But imagine, if you will, a world where a little show like ours hits 2,000 subscribers in the dead of June, because that can happen. And it can happen because I've seen what FSU Twitter and FSU Facebook and FSU YouTube and FSU, you name it. I know what we can do as a group. So I don't want to skip over that too much. And then I also, you mentioned the members only show we did on Sunday, and we had fun with that, right? We kind of talked about, how we walked through each of the logos and what we liked and what we didn't and everything. And we enjoyed doing that. But the question is whether the people that watched it enjoyed it. So what Ryan's saying is, let us know. You can let us know in the comments. You can let us know at garnetold@gmail.com because these member-only videos are new to us, and we want to make sure we're kind of hitting on some points there. Obviously, as the season comes about, there'll be a lot more to talk about. But these kind of behind-the-scenes things, I think, are kind of fun too.
Yeah, they're great and perfect timing for the off season. Of course, once the football season is in full swing, we, of course, as live shows, even for our members only, will be a lot more football centric. So a lot to look forward to, Vince. A lot going on at the Garnet Old Show. A lot going on with FSU. We're a quick just rundown of what we're going to talk about tonight. Now, we do have a lawsuit or a specific lawsuit update from Mr. Doug Rohan. He will be joining us here in about 5 minutes, so stick around for that. We're also going to talk the regionals going on right now, and we're going to actually move this topic up real quick. College Football 25, Vince, just to go over something. They announced today that tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, they're going to do a full gameplay reveal. So last time we got a trailer reveal, but tomorrow we get the gameplay deep dive. Unfortunately, Vince, it will be hosted by Kirk Herbstreit.
Of course it will.
Because of how much I've been looking forward to this game, I'm still going to watch. Are you, Vince?
I am going to watch. Well, as much as I can watch. It goes on at 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the website up there. You can see it. It premieres in 15 hours. I don't know how long this thing is going to be, but we're going to have to listen to Kirk. But what the beauty of that is, as long as I don't know that they can moderate the chat. And if they can't, I think it's going to be a deluge of FSU Twitter in and amongst the normal folks about letting Kirk know how they feel about him. I also, speaking of Kirk, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here too much, but I think I've seen somewhere that the college game day set up in Dublin is not going to be at the stadium, or not. It's going to be somewhere. I don't know all the details about that, but if anybody knows more about that, feel free to chime in. So, Brian, I know you're excited to see the gameplay itself. Is there anything specific that you're hoping to see?
Yeah, so some of the, I guess, gaming coverage media got a actual special behind the scenes look at the game already, and even got to play it. I saw Bud Elliott's released a little bit about what he thought. So what I'm really looking forward to is seeing the gameplay difference from a speed perspective. I mentioned this to you a couple months back, Vince, that one of the things that made college EA Sports, or back in the day NCAA football, so much fun is that it played a little bit more fast and a little bit more arcadey than Madden. Madden felt very much slower, methodical, and professional, whereas NCAA always felt a little bit more crazy things happening. In all of the gaming media that covered some of the things that they could talk about faster gameplay. They talked about visually, it's stunning, which is great to hear. They talked about how we do have confirmation that, we knew it was going to be in, but they actually modeled a horse perfectly for Renegade. And so we know that we're going to have a perfect spear plant and the war chanted and all that stuff. So I'm really excited about that. But then I'm also excited, Vince, they said there is a heavy focus on every team having a very unique playbook. And if you guys remember back in NCAA 14, but still in Madden, there are different playbooks, but you'll see the same plays over and over and over again. But from what I've heard is that every team's playbook is very specific to that team, and a heavy emphasis on option plays.
Right.
Now, Vince, back in the day, and to this point in Madden, when you were doing an option, if you wanted to give it to the running back, you would hold X, right? So you'd snap it and you would hold X, and the dive would happen. If you didn't hold X, you would keep as the quarterback. It always seemed backwards to me, because I always thought, well, no, if I want to hand off, that should just be the default. And if I want to keep, I want to make that reaction and hit the button. They reversed it. So in EA Sports College Football, handing off is giving is the default, and pulling is holding down X, which or tapping X at the right time.
Right.
So love it. Playbooks, atmosphere, faster, and I'm all in. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to a little bit of the interview of Bud on the 247 podcast, and he gave a lot of good information about, like you mentioned, about Renegade being like modeled for the game, about the war chant, about the fight song, but also like to the nuance of, making sure the bands are in the right position in the stadium where they normally are. And
Yeah.
and what I've heard people call this is like everybody was worried about it being a reskin of Madden, but I think what he called it was it's like a labor of love for these guys because they love college football and they
Yeah.
love the pageantry of it and how different it is and the chaos of it all sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know, okay, there is nothing like being in Doak Campbell,
Right.
on a Saturday. But and the last NCAA game that came out, you kind of got an idea that it was Doak Campbell. But I'm hoping to feel a little bit of that, right? I'm hoping to feel a little bit of me being in the stadium, you know, depending on where you're sitting. Where I normally sit, the Chiefs were to my left,
Yeah.
right? And so just having that and the whole ambiance about that and being true to the pageantry of each school is what is going to take this game over the top for me.
Yeah. I think I got a good inclination that it wouldn't be a reskin when they first announced it because they told everyone early on that they were not just going to use the Madden engine. They were going to build a new engine, and whenever that happens in gaming, that means that you're getting from ground up brand new game with new mechanics, new engine, and everything. So I'm excited to see it tomorrow. Real quick, I want to say,
Yeah, do some
Ed,
shout outs.
Ed, how's it going? Member of the Garnet Old show.
Thank you, Ed.
Good to see you. Genetics, as always, we're happy to see you again. Going good. Man, early and ready to go. Bill, the big Lubbock,
You're about to
uh,
find out about this.
you're about to find out because what time is it, Vince? It is time
It
for
is time.
if there's breaking news on a Wednesday or Thursday, you better believe it's going to end up on the Garn Old Show with Doug Urhan. Doug, how are you today?
I am fantastic. Head is still spinning. This is a good day.
It's a
So
whole day
Doug,
of lawsuit news, isn't it? It's a crazy day.
hmm
so Doug, I mean, out of the however many weeks we've been involved with the lawsuit and having you on the show, I think we're about an 85% clip right now on something coming down late Wednesday or a Thursday. So we get to talk to you, fresh and clean on something brand new on a Thursday night.
I think it's been 5 out of 6 weeks, and that 1 week that we missed, it was at 9 o'clock the next morning anyway. So we were
Right,
close.
right. So we're doing well. So the AG Moody case,
Mhm.
right? And by the way, I have your tweet storm up here in the event that you want to. Oh, I did have it. Yeah, I've got it here. In the event you want to walk through anything, I have it for you, just so you know, if you want to look at it. But let's talk about what happened today and kind of where it was left off with that, and then how this is different from what everybody is normally talking about, which is the FSU versus ACC case.
So the last month, AG Moody filed a writ of mandamus with the Leon County Court. This is separate from Judge Cooper's case hearing Florida State versus the ACC. And she requested that the court issue an order telling the ACC and ESPN that they had to divulge and disclose the ESPN agreement with the ACC. So today we got copies of 3 filings, the first of which is the ACC response to that writ of mandamus. The second is ESPN's show cause order, which basically means we're not a party to the case, but we're going to give you our opinion as well. And then the big surprise filing was the other 3 members of the Power Four, the Big 12, the SEC, and the Big 10, filing an amicus curiae brief, which is basically a friend of the court filing, saying, look, we're not a party to the suit. We don't have a dog in this specific fight, but these decisions affect us, and we want to give the court our opinion as to how this matter should be resolved. So those were the three filings, and therefore the three tweet threads that we put out was analyzing what each of those documents said.
I have amicus curiae to add to the cards.
Yes.
Is that CURAE?
I believe so. I'd have to check spell check.
Okay. So which one do you want to start with?
Well, just going in order of the parties, the ACC was the spiciest of the three responses. So that was the most entertaining one. Basically, the ACC was calling AG Moody a liar at least twice to her face, saying that, look, you've alleged that the ACC is hiding these documents, and the ACC responded by saying, first off, the ACC doesn't have, the court doesn't have jurisdiction over the ACC in this matter. This is a private matter between two private entities. Second, they said, even if you did want to say that this was something you had jurisdiction to hear, the ACC and ESPN as private entities are not required to disclose anything to the Attorney General under a public records disclosure, because it's not public records. The ACC was not acting on behalf of Florida State as an agent, and we'll get into the details of that. And then the third, even if you thought there was jurisdiction over the ACC, and even if you thought this fit within the documents that should be disclosed, it's protected by the statutory definition of trade secrets. And so they both, all three briefs got into the details of why these documents contain privileged information, contain secret information that is excluded from public disclosure.
So I know that they're trying to basically influence the judge, right? I mean, that's the idea, right? The judge can choose to just come to his own opinions, which he likely all judges do. Do you think this moves the needle at all on the potential for it moving one way or the other, or is this just an expected outcome?
I think it's an expected outcome, but there is still some process to go through, some procedures. The judge at this point would schedule a hearing. AG Moody can file a response to these documents and can clarify some of her positions if she chooses, or they can just go forward with oral arguments at a hearing, at which point the judge would then issue an order after those oral arguments on these issues.
I read through the tweet thread about all this, and when you said they were calling her a liar, pretty much, that these things are hidden, that they had provided some verbiage from some of the agreements to her, but not everything. And I think that is where the lack of trust and the lack of transparency. I mean, that's really what we're talking about, is that they can pick and choose whatever pieces fit what they want for the public to know. And I think you explained that well, but do you think that the fact that they've only given that little bit, does that sway the judge at all? It's like you're saying it's not something that we have to give you, but we gave you a little bit, so why don't you just give it all?
Well, on the one hand, the ACC has demonstrated on a couple of occasions that their interpretation of the documents is not necessarily a complete interpretation of the documents. And what they share is not necessarily a complete picture of what those documents explain. Secondly, yes, it's true that we want to read the documents for ourselves to know what those documents say. But that's where the problem comes up in this situation. There's a balancing test that the judge is going to take, and that's going to be the disclosure to Joe Schmo, you and me. What's the value in disclosing it to the public versus what is the harm to the parties that are claiming that this is a private and protected document? Well, it doesn't matter in the ACC versus FSU litigation if you or I see the documents. It just matters that the judge or the parties have access to those documents. So the public nature of the disclosure is what is the fight right now in AG Moody's case. And I think it's a very difficult a difficult argument to make that the public interest exists. That the reason why the sunshine laws exist and the reason why these rules exist for public disclosure is to make sure there's no behind the scenes dealing, some underhand dealing, to make sure there's no corruption. And it's hard to say that a contract between the ACC or ESPN could be evidence or could have evidence of corruption involving a state agency. And so to that point, the briefs make a good explanation of describing the ACC relationship with FSU. Yes, there is a grant of rights. Yes, the ACC is negotiating with ESPN on behalf of the members, but it's not negotiating with ESPN on behalf of specifically and only Florida State. And that's where they cited some Florida State Supreme Court laws that said merely the existence of a contract, merely the existence of a relationship here between FSU and the ACC is not sufficient to suggest that the ACC is acting as an agent. The ACC is acting on behalf of all of its members across all of the different states. And so that's why it doesn't meet the standard for claiming that the ACC is acting as an agent for Florida State.
By the way, if there's anybody in the chat that wants their specific question asked of Doug, Super Chat is the best way to do that, but we'll look for some of that as well. Is there a way, and I know I've seen some back and forth on this, is there a way for the complete agreements, whatever they are, the ESPN agreements, the grant of rights, for those to be available to the judge in Florida, the legal team in either the AG or the Florida State lawyers, and it not be subject to sunshine laws if the judge has something to do with that? Is there a way for that to happen?
Yes, and that's exactly the complaint about AG Moody's actions, is that it simply was a lack of patience. The reason why the South Carolina case already has these documents available to both parties is because the South Carolina doesn't have the sunshine laws. The reason why that's handcuffing us and hamstringing us here in the Florida case and the North Carolina case involving FSU is because the Florida state attorneys cannot agree to any type of privilege, cannot agree to any type of protective order. They're prohibited from doing so by statute. The judge can still order that, and I believe Judge Cooper and Judge Bledsoe will do so at the appropriate time, but we're not there yet. Maybe Judge Cooper issues that order on June 18th at his next hearing. But right now, where we stand in the process of litigation, the North Carolina case is going to the Supreme Court of North Carolina, and the Florida case was dismissed, requiring a refiling, which just took place last week. So there's not a time in either of those cases for the judge to issue an order saying the document will be disclosed to the parties and it will not be made public. They just needed to wait for that to happen.
It's crazy, right? Because we know that's the end game of what's going to happen. But because of all the hoops you got to jump through to get there, it is like the slowest burn of all time. I don't know how you do this, Doug. I don't know how you do it because, you know, I like to think of myself as having a lot of common sense and logic. And I know where I have to go, right? So can't we just get there? But
there are cases. I have a personal injury case from last year, a $3 million settlement, where I didn't get paid until almost 120 days after we had the agreement. There's so many procedural hurdles. There's so many different obstacles throughout every step of the process. And clients get very frustrated. This is a reality of the legal system in general, but it is a very deliberate and frustrating process that often takes far longer than people really understand and appreciate.
Right.
What do you think is next with this specific, like what comes next in this specific case?
So in the Attorney General Moody versus the ACC case, then I expect a hearing will be scheduled probably sometime late June or early July. And then at that point, the judge will make an order, make a finding, which, as we've seen, can sometimes take a couple weeks after the hearing. So we're still talking about the start of August before there's a determination as to whether or not the writ of mandamus or the order to disclose the documents is going to happen.
Other than keeping the ACC legal teams, on a swivel constantly, was there any benefit really to the AG getting involved here, or is that just keeping everything slower?
I neither. I don't think there was any
Okay.
advantage, but I also don't think it'll necessarily slow anything down.
Okay.
I think what it does is it enhances the national eyeballs on the case, and I think that was the end goal of AG Moody move, is to just bring to a national landscape picture and news cycle, instead of just being like this. Now, no matter what, college football fans and sports writers are going to cover all this, but anytime an attorney general or multiple attorney generals get involved in a case between like college football conferences and their member institutions and all that kind of stuff, it's going to bring more eyeballs anytime. It's almost like just bring in the wild card in. It feels like.
The other two things today. So ESPN filed something today.
So ESPN filed their response, and basically they were very cordial in their nature. They just said in general that we agree that this should be protected. And the amicus brief by all the other conferences said the same thing. This is something that should not be disclosed. It's never been disclosed before. We don't want it to be disclosed. And so all the parties are in agreement, essentially, that this is something that should remain private. And that's one of the many reasons why I think it will ultimately remain in the hands of ESPN and the ACC without being disclosed publicly.
Right. But eventually we'll get to the point where, the judge themselves, the legal teams can see it. And whether I get to see it or not, I mean, I can say I want to see it, but I don't know that I would be able to decipher it all. Yep. Mainly, I need the people that are smart enough to get us out of this league to be able to see it. That's what I need to happen. I don't need for me to be able to see it.
Correct. All right, gentlemen, I had a short night tonight. Sorry, got to run, take care of some other stuff, but I knew y'all wanted to hear about it.
Thank you, Doug. We'll talk to you soon.
Y'all take care. Have a good one.
Bye. The man is everywhere. You're muted, Ryan. You're muted.
Man, I don't know what's going on, but yeah.
I don't know what you did there.
Yeah, he is on every show at all time. He's almost omnipresent.
He's worldwide. It's Rohan worldwide. I'm going to coin that phrase right now, and I couldn't be happier and more proud of my friend. So if you're not watching him here, make sure you're watching him, you are watching him here, but watch him on Twitter as well. He's on all kind of shows. And Rohan Law, he didn't get a chance to really plug that, but Rohan Law out of Atlanta, Georgia area. He wants to be your best friend on your worst day. And so if you are in need of any kind of legal assistance and you're in the state of Georgia, look for Rohan Law.
Absolutely. All right, Vince. Let's say hi to some people.
Yeah, let's do some highs and hellos and shout outs.
Member Expedition Greg. Hey, Greg. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Thanks for joining again. Seminoles.
Minnesota Seminoles.
Who in the month of June will be getting a gift card to use on a copy of EA Sports College Football. So I'm excited to provide that service as a loyal fan, sir. Thank you, as always. Nick Snyder, as always, in the chat. Nick, good to see you as always, man. It was awesome. Man, there's a lot going on today when it comes to. Now we're not going to get into the other law case today, but there's a lot going on in the law. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been fun, right? I've learned a lot. I keep saying this. I've learned a lot about stuff that I probably never thought I would and never thought I wanted to, but because it involves the team that I love, I have become a bit of a connoisseur of the legal system, and Doug has helped us along to get there for sure.
absolutely. Now, Vince, we were talking about EA Sports College Football. Is there anything you? Let's go back to the original
Yeah.
conversation.
Yep.
What are
Yep.
you looking forward to?
Yeah. I mean, we had to grab Doug while we could there. So, I mean, like I mentioned, it's all about the ambiance to me, and feeling like I'm there. And I know you're like, well, how can you feel like you're there in a game, right? Well, I happen to be, my game room, not really a game room, but the bonus room where I have the game system is on a projector on the wall, right? So it's going to be huge. And so like I mentioned a little bit before Doug came on, I'm looking forward to hearing the war chant. And I'm wondering what else might be in there in terms of the ambiance. So it's going to take me a while, Ryan, to get to know the buttons again. It really is. But tomorrow will be fun when I see a little bit more of the gameplay for sure.
To answer your question, JD Powerhammer, yes. The release date for the normal, like if you just get the basic edition, I think it's July 15th. And if I remember correctly, the release date for everyone else is like July 11th or something. I think.
Yeah, I think
Sounds
it's.
about right.
I thought the release date was the
It's on the
19th.
website. They
I might
posted
be
it
wrong about that.
on the website. Cool.
But yeah. So other than that, as far as the gameplay is concerned, just looking forward to watching it. And are you going to do a show tomorrow, Ryan, later after the gameplay, or?
Probably not. We have a
Okay.
company coming into town.
Well, I mean, you have to take care of family, brother.
But Vince, one thing I do want to talk about, and you're kind of the keeper, I like to call you, of all other sports outside of football. I keep up with football and kind of basketball for the most part, but clue us in, Vince. What's going on in the regionals?
Well, I mean, I don't know. You can call me the gatekeeper. I would not venture to say that I am, the end all beat all for all the other sports, but I do keep up with them. And the baseball team had almost a miraculous turnaround this season compared to last season. Last season was highly forgettable, and we have not really had a lot to hang our hat on, as it were, with the baseball team for several years now. I don't think we've hosted a regional in 6 years. So we have a regional starting in Tallahassee tomorrow at noon. And Florida State is the number 1 seed. We're playing Stetson, I believe, at noon. And Stetson is a pretty good team. As a matter of fact, I think the last time we played them, we lost to them. And so, college baseball is becoming more and more like Major League Baseball in terms of like parity, right? So, to see a 3 or 4 seed come out of a regional is not unheard of. And so this is going to be a tough weekend. But the Noles play at noon, and then we'll see how the weekend goes. And it's in Hauser. So if you live in Tally, and you have the opportunity to go to one of those games and cheer on behalf of me and cheer on behalf of Ryan. So the baseball team is playing at noon tomorrow. The softball team season ended last week. They lost to Oklahoma. They basically lost 2-0. They did not win a game in that series. But the freshman, Jason E. Beecham, I think is her last name.
Sounds about right.
Freshman of the year, national freshman of the year. So the future is bright with the softball team. And then, I don't know if you watched. Are you a golf fan,
Yeah, I love golf, man. I was disappointed in, but I was proud and disappointed.
Yeah. So the golf team made it to the national championship round, and they played Auburn last night. Last night, this is Thursday, uh,
Hmm.
and they lost I think 3-2. And I think it's the closest they've come to winning the title. And the golf team has been like perennially great for quite a while. So kind of a bummer to see them miss out on that ring, but a great team to watch and a talented team. And anyway, just in general, as usual, the Seminole athletic programs, top to bottom, are kicking booty.
Do you want to answer this question for Kirk David Tony? Did Hauser Stadium get repaired? Yes, it did. It's fully repaired and back to normal operation.
Yeah, the only thing I don't know about Hauser, and you may know this, Ryan. Last week they had put up a fence on the right field side that was only 10 feet high.
Hmm.
So I don't know if they have replaced that with the normal monster fence.
Right.
That I don't know. But they had gotten done what they needed to get done in order to play the last series a few weeks ago.
Beautiful. Man, Vince, this might be a little bit of a shorter show tonight.
Do you want to take some calls?
Yeah, sure. We can take some calls.
We weren't planning on taking calls, but we can.
If
we
you guys
have
want
the
to call in.
ability. Yeah. So let me put the number up here. And if anybody is wanting to call in and chat about anything related to the lawsuit, the regionals starting tomorrow, or really anything related to the Noles. I know we've got some great recruiting stuff coming up in June. We can talk about that as well.
Absolutely.
So we'll leave that number up here. Ryan, what do you think about opening up? We open up the membership show a week later. Maybe we'll open up last week's membership show a little earlier.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. How about this, Vince? While people have a chance to call in, why don't we give away some memberships?
Oh, we can do that too.
If you want a membership, here's what's about to happen to our YouTube memberships. Where every now and again we like to, out of the goodness of our own hearts, give away a month free. So we're going to give away first come first serve a month free of YouTube membership. And if you want to keep it, you can keep it. If you want to cancel it, cancel it. But guess what? Free. We're gonna do what, 5, Vince?
I think it lets. Well, we'll see, Ryan. You've said this, and I have to make sure that we can do it. So give me a moment.
Vince, I believe in you because the people believe in you.
Yeah. Well, I'll do what I can. Let's see. Gift memberships to viewers. Oh, we've already given away all 10 this month. And you got to check with me before this show starts.
I'm sorry, everyone,
but that's okay. Hey, in June, we get the ability to give out some more. But what also could happen is if anyone in the chat is also able to gift some as well. So, for example, if you have the goodness of your heart, you want to gift some memberships to some of your fellow Noles here, you could do the same thing. You would just click on the $, and it gives you the opportunity to gift a few if you want to do that. And it's like just like it is when we gift them, they get it for 1 month, basically. So you would be basically gifting some memberships for someone for a singular month.
Man, I feel terrible now, Vince. You know what it was? I saw the end of the month, and I was thinking,
you thought we were in June.
I thought we were clear to go. In fact, we got a whole another day, Vince.
We do
in a month. So, man, Well, hey, one thing I want to talk about. I want to address some of the complainers about EA Sports College Football. Come here.
Oh boy.
Everyone. Come here. Come here.
Oh, we're gonna have a fireside chat with Ryan.
I do this every now and again. It's been a long day. So, the game has not come out in 10 years. 10. We have been waiting and begging and pulling out our old console to play NCAA 14, which was the last time we won a national championship. That's how long it's been, everyone. So, when we get the trailer and we get some details, and man, God forbid, Vince, that road to glory starts as a freshman in college and not a senior in high school, you would think the whole world is ending on Twitter. That EA Sports, you have let us down again, and that everything. How dare you? How dare you, sir? Like Greta Thunberg. Like, how dare you? That's what I thought about, guys. All right, I would say most people play franchise, right, or dynasty mode in this case. In Madden, it's called franchise. Most people play dynasty or online dynasty. Fair?
I would think so.
Yeah. You like to play your seasons or play your seasons with your friends online or just play online head to head. I'm not saying that Road to Glory is not a cool feature. But guys, that is the feature that you play the first time all the way through. And then you probably don't ever touch it again. Okay? In my opinion, this is my opinion, it's the least important mode. I do like to play it. I play it usually one time, maybe twice through with a different position. But guys, 10 years have passed since you've had even an option to buy a college football game. And all we're hearing from the people who cover college football and gaming is how much the graphics look good and the gameplay is solid and it's fun and fast. And they release this tiny little thing that says, no high school road to glory. And everyone just loses their mind. Oh my God, how dare you? And Parker, I'm going to bring up that too. I'm adding that in.
Yeah.
Game developers, and Vince, you ran, and you're in the company that you work for. You've managed software developers, right?
That is correct, sir.
When you're getting something out the door for the first time ever, or in a very long time, let's say a brand new model, there are must-haves, would like to haves, and then future releases.
Yeah, we talk about that in terms of version 1 requirements.
Yeah, version 1 requirements. It works. It functions as a game. It has the modes that you would expect: dynasty mode, online functionality, and road to glory. Graphics have to be good. We're building it from the ground up. Brand new engine. The gameplay has to be fast and fluid. All those are must-haves, right, Vince? Version 1.
Absolutely. It's 2024. It better look a heck of a lot better
Right.
than it did in 2014.
Any problems with how the game plays will be patched as we go through the months. But this isn't, knock on wood, the only NCAA football game we're ever going to get ever again. There will be time after this initial, which I promise you took a lot of time to get done, building a game from not a pre-made engine that's been around like Madden, instead of building it from the ground up, is really hard. And it's really hard because they know the expectations are here, right? People
Right.
are ready for it. What you got announced and what we're going to get is a perfect version 1 of the game. I promise all of you, I will put my reputation on the line that in 2025, when EA Sports College Football comes out, you will probably have improved Road to Glory modes, improved gameplay, improved maybe the mascots, all this other stuff. But their goal, Vince, and I think you agree with this, having managed software development before, was to get a functioning, well executed from the ground up gameplay and graphics and engine as a first round. It's like when The Force Awakens came out, even though the rest of the Star Wars movies didn't turn, but you don't want people to hate it. So you're just getting out a really great experience, and then it will add to that as we go through the years. Do you agree with me, Vince? Am I crazy?
No, I agree with you. And, you know, the main thing, and let's just talk about it in terms of percentages. I believe what we're about to get is 80%,
Mhm.
right? You're going to get 80%.
Of what you want.
Because it's been a long lag between the last one and this one. But you know, you have to leave room for improvement. You're not going to get a perfect game. For people looking for a perfect game, it's not going to happen. But you know, it's like software development in general. You know, we need to get you from here to there. We're not going to give you the Lamborghini because that's going to take way too much time. You're going to wait for 10 years to get that. So we're going to give you a scooter. You know, we're going to get you from here to there. And then we're going to add some turbocharging to it, right? And then we're going to, it's a typical agile methodology. I don't want to get really detailed here,
Now
but
you're talking my language.
but that's what's happening here. And there are going to be some glitches and some bugs. There are. There's going to be some weird stuff that goes on. But I'm telling you, when I'm sitting about 15 feet from here on the second floor, and I have that controller in my hand, and I watch Renegade run out with Osceola on back, I'm telling you, it's not going to matter any of those glitches. It's not going to matter. I am going to play that thing, and I'm going to now, after a few months of playing, I'm like, man, I wish they would fix this.
Mhm.
And they will.
Yeah. It's just it was so funny to me that of all the goodwill and excitement and good news you heard, people just like to latch on, man, to the one thing that's like a nice to have. They latch on to it, Vince, and it's like the end of the world. Like it's as if the article said the graphics and gameplay are awful and this is missing. But so much positive. They have to it's social media, man. That's how it is.
It bothers me so much because you know me, Ryan. You know me for a long time. I am
Yeah.
not a negative person.
Yeah.
Like I try to look for, the best in people, the positive, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like people don't complain until you get in there. If you want to complain a year from now after they haven't patched something that should have been patched, okay, I
Yeah.
get it. But there's a lot of social media has allowed a lot of people to have a much louder voice than maybe they should. You want to talk about the mascot thing since Parker brought it up?
Yeah, there's not gonna be the mascot mashup.
Yeah, the mascot game. Yeah.
Again, that's going to be a nicety, and they do have to leave room for in the future them announcing new features for the next game and the next game and the next game. Like Vince said, they're not going to give it to you all at once. In fact, Madden has had a history of taking features away as the next version comes out. But the real point here is, Vince. The real point is be happy college football is back on consoles at all. Because if EA Sports had come out a month ago and said, "Hey, here's the news. We took NCAA 14. We're not doing anything to the graphics, the gameplay, or anything. The entire game is the same, but it'll have modern rosters and then players' names, and it'll be playable on new consoles, like in a good resolution and frame rate. But it's the same game." I would have been like, "Awesome! I get to play
Yeah.
EA." Like I don't
Because
care.
because it's step one toward a
Yeah.
greater good, right? And so we have a much larger step one. We're on step 7. Chris, by the way, needs to win the console. Hey, Chris, by the way, folks, I think Spiratics has a show starting at 8:15 tonight. So once you're done here with us, go run over and watch Chris over on Spiratics. I know I'm going to be watching and chatting as well.
Nick Snyder, our YouTube member, wrote, "I want to play you guys with MTSU so I can defeat the Canes over and over."
So
Yes.
here's what I'll do. Nick. I will actually be the Canes, and I will let you throw over the top on every play because that's what actually happened in that game.
Yeah, I'm going to just be the Canes in a separate dynasty and just have terrible clock management. And then I'm going to
That's
take a
right.
knee when it doesn't matter and not take a knee when it does.
Think about how beautiful this is, Ryan. Let's just say you decide that you wanna fire up the Canes versus the Yellow Jackets, right? And it's the end of the game, and you're just and you're the Canes. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna run the ball. I just have to kneel this thing and run the clock out. But you know the chaos of the game, right?
Mhm.
You know the game is gonna force a fumble on that
Mhm.
play. And I'm gonna toast the game at that point,
Yeah.
and I am gonna enjoy every moment of it.
By the way, I'm a full believer of the game balancing turn of events in those games. They've never come out and said it, but there's been too many times, Vince, where I'm up 3 touchdowns against a friend of mine in the fourth quarter, and I run the ball with my running back straight up the middle while protecting the ball, and he fumbles. And then
Right?
the very next drive, he fumbles again, and it hasn't happened in 4 games where any fumbles have happened. So I do believe that game leveling is real. One thing I'm excited to do, Vince. I don't know if you ever do this. I always have my Florida State dynasty that continues for eternity. I just play season after season, but it is also fun to take a random team and take them to the playoffs or something on a separate dynasty. And also this year, speaking of stop complaining, you're going to have be able to make custom teams and playbooks. So, hey, maybe I'll create, you know what I should do? I should go back and create the 2018 or 2019 Florida State team and create the Gulf Coast playbook, the Gulf Coast offense.
Yeah, lethal simplicity.
And under ratings, I'll turn down hydration all the way down.
You can turn down that, and then kind of the theme song as you're playing that is Tarif doing his
Yeah.
lethal simplicity War Daddies rap.
There's going to be 3 plays, Vince, and I'm going to run no huddle. I'm just going to hold triangle.
It's gonna be swag surfing,
The plays will be a wide receiver screen,
right?
a all go route with one hitch, and then a get an option play in which the quarterback always gives.
Right. And there's the one play, and there the one play where the receiver is facing backfield.
Yeah. Oh, that would be funny if they had that in Florida State's playbook.
Oh man, it was so good. That'd
I
be
would
so
love it if
good.
they actually put that in the game. That would be fantastic. But it would be fantastic. And Vince, I know for a fact that you're gonna be able to share probably your created teams and rosters and all that fun stuff because who cares now? NIL's a thing. Um, it's just gonna be nice, Vince, not hearing QB5, in the
Right,
game.
right.
They're gonna be able to say, the player's name. Oh, I can't wait. Do you think they're gonna pronounce DJ Uiagalelei correct or anything like that?
Oh, probably. And what about Klubnik takes the sack. Klubnik takes the sack.
Yeah.
Graham Mertz takes the sack.
I want to hear Kirk Herbstreit say Deuce Spawn.
Deuce Spawn? Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna put Deuce Spawn in as my special teams quarterback and running a lot of fun plays. Oh man, I can't
What
wait.
else? Yeah, what else we got? That's pretty much it, right?
Vince, I'm really disappointed in you.
Why?
We're gonna end the show and saying you haven't watched Lost in like 2 weeks. What is you doing?
Hey man, I told you this past weekend we had a staycation at the house. I had 15 people here. Well, 15 total. And it was a complete chaos, for 2.5 days. We had a great time. But there left little time for me to do, what needed to be done, which is watch Lost, right? Or play more on my brand new PS5, which is upstairs waiting for me right now.
I like to walk around sometimes just around people that don't know what I'm talking about. Just go 4, 8, 15, 16, 15, 40.
And I did not know what that meant until recently.
Yeah. But I think
So
that wraps it up, I think, for today. But Vince, I will say a lot of good announcements in the next few months coming up about this season. We got some cool stuff going on here at the Garnet Old show. And
yeah. Speaking of, and I don't have dates yet, but I did get clarification from our friends at Fishweir. that they are all on board with us doing some live shows from the brewery this fall. So be looking out for dates. Those will be away games, and so you can probably determine which ones those are going to be. But if you are in the Northeast Florida area or want to travel up here, by the way, you could come up and watch Garnet Old live from Fishweir Brewing in the Murray Hill area of Jacksonville, Florida. And then I also want to make sure that I plug for any of those folks that are in the Atlanta area.
Yeah.
Doug Rohan is organizing a FSU fandom meet and greet at Scofflaw Brewing on June 29th. So if you are in that area, you live around there, Scofflaw Brewing on June 29th. I am working on getting myself up there and my wife Shannon up there to participate in that as well.
I forgot, almost completely forgotten this. I would have been so mad at myself. And we have some new game times announced.
Oh, it's true.
So I'm going to go through all of them that we currently have times announced for. So of course we have this
Good
one
call.
was already
Good call.
announced in Dublin. We know that it was going to be noon against Georgia Tech. That's fine, right? Boston College 7:30 at Doe Campbell, man, prime time on Labor Day. So that'll be fun.
Yep. Monday night, right?
Yep. Memphis at home nooner on ESPN.
It'll be 800 degrees.
It'll be 800 degrees. Absolutely. Then, Vince, we got at Duke on a Friday night, 7:00. Man, nothing scarier than going into Duke Stadium on a Friday night at 7. Am I right?
Looking forward to that.
Do you think they'll be a sellout? Do you think they'll get a sellout for that? No, probably not. Right.
Probably not.
Big one here because it's on NBC. We know that for Notre Dame, but we know now it's a primetime game, 7:30. There is something special, Vince. I will say this, of a primetime matchup against Notre Dame still to this day. Like when you play Notre Dame at night, it's awesome.
So that game is on November 9th. It's an away game. Possibly, Ryan. It may be a Fishweir Brewing Company event that night. We'll see.
And that would be fun. You know how I don't know if you remember. For those of you guys who haven't been a member of the channel long, last year we did two live shows at Fishweir Brewing Company in Jacksonville for some away games, and we were hoping on both times to get a afternoon or a evening kickoff. So because it's a bar, and both times it was noon.
Yeah.
So now we still had a lot of people there.
We did, and some alumni Chiefs that came and played.
But I can only imagine that a 7:30 kick against Notre Dame at a bar would be a fun time to do a show.
It would be. I think it's going to be crowded there, so I need to check with the owners there to see if that's a possibility for that night. I don't imagine I'll be going to that game, so that would be a great one. This would be a first nighttime event at Fishweir, if that's the game. But yeah, hey, FSU. The Spear versus the Golden Dome in prime time, that is going to draw huge, huge numbers.
Especially for both still up there in the playoff chase, which I'm assuming we would be. But yeah, I figured I would throw that out there, Vince, because I completely forgot that they announced those game times. That was awesome. Anytime you get those kind of announcements, you're like, all right, hey, guys, June is here on Saturday. That means that camp is right around the corner. It's going to happen sooner than you think. So get ready. And even more so, Vince, the first game being so early and having it in August. We have 2 games before we even make it to to the beginning of September, by Labor Day weekend. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everyone, give us a follow on X. Reach out to us. Tag us, if you will, and shout us out. Also, like, subscribe, and share. 2,000 subscribers. We're going to give away a console if we reach that before the release of EA Sports College Football. And make sure you tune in to Garnet and Old. And the way you can do that is becoming a member. Now, Vince, I might do an extra bonus on Sunday evening covering the EA Sports College Football gameplay.
Okay.
For members only. I'm trying to give as much goodies to the members because they are the lifeblood of how we continue to do the show. So showing appreciation to them, trying to give them more value, and we have a lot more coming for you guys later this year. But Vince, it's been a great show. Good way to wind down the day after a very long and frustrating day of working in the IT industry. And for you working and running a staff meeting, which is always your favorite, I know that. But
Good
Vince,
times.
what a great night. Screw ESPN eternally.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I always say, send Chiefs all the damn time. They deserve it. Don't forget, you can send some money to them via the Coaches Club. It goes directly to the Chiefs for travel. So send Chiefs as much as you can. And Ryan and I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight on a Thursday night at the end of May, when it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on in the world, but there is. And you heard about it right here.
Garnet Old, as always, 7 o'clock Eastern every Thursday. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. Send Chiefs all the damn time. And Vince, last but not least, go Noles.